Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. And this is something that I've been wanting to address for quite some time, but I wanted to make sure that I saw the entire picture before I talked about anything. And I can give you my final verdict. This was a flop. This entire thing was a freaking flop since the start. I cannot believe we lost the supercharge and the premium passes for this bullshit. It's actually sad. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about what people call, or what Hutch calls, the JTTC. Here's a quick question. Comment down below. Don't cheat, okay? How many of you actually know what JTTC stands for? Because I have no clue. No clue at all. The entire time this has been in the game, I've just been calling it the chapter token thingy. What is it? Japan TTE. I just know the C stands for campaign, and I forget. Is it Journey to the East? I think that's what it is. It's just the dumbest thing. Okay. Anyway, before I get back into critiquing it and why I think this was an absolute flop and how this was just a travesty of an event, let's go through how it works. The main concept was this, throughout the game, when you were playing Top Drives, you get these free collector passes, which you also had the option to buy with cash and gold. Now, one of my biggest regrets was I've actually spent gold on buying those stupid collector passes, because I don't know if any of you guys are in the same boat with me, but at the start of the release of this challenge, it was something new, right? And obviously it was something exciting, but the excitement only lasted like 2 days. But it was something new, something exciting. So I was like, okay, I want to get a head start from the pack. So I bought some extra passes with gold. And now here I am sitting here with like 1 million free packs sitting in the store, which I don't even bother to open because it's just a waste of my time. But anyway, the way the JTTC works is that you get these free passes. You open them, you get a plastic pack, and you get 3 tokens. Then you get those tokens or tickets or passes or however way you want to call them, and they kind of translate to the collector challenges. That's like the second base or the second stage of the challenge, right? You go into the collector challenges and it consumes one of those tickets per level, and I think about each one has about 9 levels, and they kind of expanded it and they expanded it again. So at the start it was just super rares and ultra rares and uncommons and rares, and then they added more ultra rare levels and more super rare levels, and they added the epic level and legendary level, which all turned out to be completely useless and irrelevant, but I'll get to that in a bit. So that was the second stage, right? And then after you completed the collector challenges, then you unpack more crap. You get these tokens, so you're basically getting like passes that turn into tokens, and then you take those tokens and you put them in the JTTEC chapters, which is like this sorry excuse of a campaign. Look, if I want a campaign, I want a story mode. I want something to follow. I want some kind of plot line. They call it a campaign, but it's barely a campaign. You don't even get to see the bosses. It's just different chapters of really mundane races to get you like a super rare in some cases. But that's basically how it works. I'm sure you guys know it. We've been seeing it in the game for the last few months. So in total, at the end, there are 22 chapters. There were some noticeable prizes. I think the top 8 are these ones over here. The top prize, or the final prize, was the Mazda RX Vision, which came out at like just such a bad time, because this was a car that you could have used for the final, but of course they only awarded it after the final for the what was the last prize car? The Janetta. They only released it when that was over, right? Then you got the Mitsubishi HSR, the Hyundai Passacordo, the Biforia, and some of the ultra rares. I mean, the Hyundai i30N is pretty good. The Mazda is pretty good too. The Hyundai Santa Fe, I mean, it's 62 RQ and it's got a really nice background, so that's fine. The Mitsubishi 3000, the ultra rares are okay. That's a decent selection, right? So yeah, some noticeable prizes, but here's the thing that you need to remember. 22 chapters, and just about 8, I want to say 10 in total were actually Ultra and above. I think the only Ultras that I'm missing that they did give out was the Holden. I know that they gave out an Ultra Holden, and there might have been one more that I missed. But if it wasn't, if the Holden was the only Ultra that I didn't include in this, then it would have been 3 Ultra Rares, 3 Epics, 5 Ultras, and 1 Legend, which makes up 9 out of 22. I'm not good at math, but if you take away 9 from 22, you should be left with 13. So that means that's 13 chapters of prizes, which just mean jack shit, which is just a waste of time. Anyway, so how do we know that chapter 22 is indeed the last? Well, on October 26th, a man named by Gigantic Whale, some of you may know him very well, I know him very well, he basically asks Robin, why not give the people what they're asking for, even just one thing, the timeline and the end game of the JTTE, whatever it is, right? And that's the thing with this entire challenge. We never knew when the end actually was. Everything was just incredibly ambiguous. I don't know if Hutch thought that was a good thing, but to me, it just felt endless, and I don't know like how long it was gonna last for. But anyway, Robin, obviously Hutch Robin, he replied, sure. 2 more challenges. So 2 more challenges. He replied to this message before the release of the Mitsubishi HSR and the Mazda. Those 2 have finally been released. So that basically means that the event has ended. 22 is the last one for what we know right now. But with the outrage going on in TDO and all the other servers, they might add some more challenges. Maybe, just maybe, okay? So what's the point of the secrecy? I don't get it. Like, why couldn't this have been stated at the start? Why couldn't they just tell us at the start of this entire challenge they're going to be 22 chapters? So at least we could plan accordingly, like how much we needed to invest and how many cars we needed to upgrade. If they were kind of just not telling us the end because they wanted us to just upgrade and spend as much resources as possible, that's just sly, and you're just gonna lose the trust of the players that way. I think it's just really stupid. Why couldn't this be transparent from the start? Why couldn't you tell us there are 22 chapters? And one of the most annoying thing about the distribution of the chapters was that you didn't really know when a new chapter was coming up. Sometimes you would go 4 days without a new chapter. Sometimes you would go 6 days without a new chapter. Sometimes you would go a day without a new chapter. It was just so random, and it didn't seem polished. It didn't seem planned, the end was as meaningless as the start as well. Like, oh, that's it, the end. Like, since they didn't tell us in like a blog post or an official post that chapter 22 was the end, a lot of players, and even if even today, I feel like if you've not even seen this video, some of you guys watching might think, oh, maybe there's something coming after the Mazda. No, as far as I know, the Mazda was the last thing, and they never said it. Like, it's so meaningless. Like, the end is, oh, so it just ends. That's it. Like, it doesn't say it's a final challenge. It just stops. Like, we're just not gonna see any. And like, what's the point of the secrecy? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, JTTEC BS sucked. It sucked. I hated everything about it. It was terrible. It was lethargic. It was slow. It was terrible. So let's go through every single component of this kind of JT whatever BS crap, and let me tell you why I think it was just a waste of everybody's time. Number 1 is the collector passes. They're repetitive. They just come up every day. Oh, congratulations. Open this really redundant pack where you just get one random comment. It's a real slap in the face, and then 3 tokens. And at this point, I don't even know why they're still distributing these tokens and passes anymore, because the chapters or whatever they've supposedly finished. Like, what's the point of even opening? I've already completed the entire thing. My entire storage is filled up with this bullshit. It's endless. Like, literally, I just keep scrolling throughout my storage, just free collector passes. It's pointless. It's dumb. I hate it. I don't understand. Then the next thing is the collector challenges. This is the only thing that I kind of had a little bit of fun in, right? So to some people, it was boring and restrictive, right? Because obviously there are a lot of races that you couldn't do. That's my own screenshot. I'm still, until this day, I'm stuck on level 13. I've been stuck on level 13 for about 3 weeks now, because do you know how fucking impossible it is to get 5 front-wheel drive cars from Asia Pacific Grand Prix? I've opened a fair share of carbon fibers, and I always get all surface tire cars. I've opened at least 6, 7, 8 million worth of ceramic packs, and I can't seem to get a front-wheel drive APGP car. It's a way harder than you freaking think it is, man. So yeah, I've been stuck there. but it doesn't really matter because I don't need to get those tokens because they've already finished all the chapters. I've already completed everything, but it is really restrictive, which is a little bit annoying. But there are good things. I did enjoy the collector challenges because the races weren't hard. The entire point of getting a 3-star and completing the challenge was just to get and upgrade the cars. Like, I kind of like the fact that, oh, you needed 2+ fuses and 5+ fuses. I mean, especially during the hype of the new update, this was a great way to give new cars some meaning. The only issue was that back then, I used to think that I was upgrading these cars for a purpose, for a cause, you know, like it would pay back. But right now, no, we've already finished the challenges. I don't need to upgrade any more APGP cars. I don't need any more tokens. There are no more chapters coming up. It's a waste of my freaking time. But at the start of the challenge, I was having fun. It would actually influence what cars I was upgrading, and I was really focusing on APGP. I found that fun. That was my personal opinion, but I've seen people call it boring and restrictive as well. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. This is the part that I hated the most, and that's the JTTC chapters. Absolutely hated every single moment. I hated every single level. I did not play this game at all. I was literally just going to Top Drive's records and ripping out the answers because you cannot take my time, my precious time away from my personal life, my boxing life, and my club time on stupid challenges that pay out minuscule amount of cash. Yeah, at the start, right, the first couple of chapters, you're getting like 125 or like a 250 cash per level. That is a waste of my time, and that is an insult. JTTC chapters, in my opinion, are repetitive. They are endless. They're unbalanced, they're unrewarding, but most importantly, they are insulting. What do I mean by insulting? Every time we need a car, or every time they release an epic or a legendary, they always release it after we need it. Example being the freaking Mazda. The Janetta finals was when you needed the Mazda, or when it could have been useful in, but they decided to release it afterwards, which is incredibly dumb. I think there was this one thing where they released the front wheel drive Ultra Hyundai Ioniq right after a challenge ended where you needed those front wheel drive cars. It really pissed me off. Like, there's no way that was just a coincidence. They definitely did that with intention, and it's really annoying. And like I said, it's repetitive. All the chapters are the damn same. It's endless. It's unbalanced. It's genuinely unbalanced. The thing is, right, I've seen a lot of people say that the levels of these are hard. They're hard. They're actually hard. Like, you actually need to think about them. And the why I think they're unbalanced is, like, I really shouldn't be putting in that much effort for 10 unique levels, changing my hand every single time, especially for the starting challenges where they only reward you 500 or 750 cash. Why do you want me to spend like 2 to 3 minutes per round for 500 cash? How is that efficient at all? I could be putting that time into clubs and making 10 times the amount of money. It's actually just insulting. I hate it so much. Terrible. Every single component is terrible. Okay, for example, you get 750 per round for this, right? Your grand prize is a freaking Mitsubishi Galant that you will never freaking use in your entire life in Top Drives, and the levels are actually pretty damn tough. You are coming up against fully upgraded cars, and you need to max your own cars to get there. Look, it's really annoying, to be honest. I'm like changing my hand every single level for 750, 750, 750. It's not worth the effort. Until this day, that's my own screenshot. I've only passed the first level, and I just couldn't be bothered to do the rest. At the end of the day, the entire prize is a Mitsubishi Galant. I'd be investing 10 minutes, maybe more, 15 minutes of my time to get a freaking super rare. I don't care. I do not care. It's a waste of my time. It's not worth the investment, dude. And then another thing, right? Let's talk about the tokens for an example, right? The final level requires 900 tokens. If you've gone and, like, you know, done all the collector challenges, you would have way over 2,000 tokens, right? So the final level only requires 1/3 of the total points that you could have collected, which makes the other 2/3 of the collector series completely meaningless. Like, imagine that you upgraded legendaries and epics just because, oh, you wanted to get more tokens in the collector series. Well, surprise, surprise, the tokens that you earn on those harder levels mean jack shit because the chapters are over now. You really only needed 900, and that was that. Like, what was the entire point? Why there's so many free passes? What is the point? I don't understand. Why was this? It feels like the entire thing was just unplanned. You know, like it wasn't even calculated. Like who the hell is even running this, bro? Why are you even in this position? And this was the final level. Now I know it's a bit ironic and a bit hypocritic for me to say, but here's the thing. I said that the rounds earlier were a bit too tough, but I feel like the final round is not tough enough, right? So I know there's some irony to it, but it's kind of like, look, if this is the final challenge and you're going for a big prize, and I feel like a lot of people with a lot of tokens would have maxed out epics and stuff, and maxed out, no, not maxed, but maybe even upgraded some legendaries. Like at the end of the day, the final challenge of this entire like one marathon, like 2.5 month marathon, you know, chapter whatever JTTC shit, and like at the end of the day you're still running like 3 ultras. Like okay, cool, whatever. Like so at the end of the day, every single epic that I had to like max out for the other token series, you know, is meaningless. You know, like I didn't even really need to use it. I mean, I guess you kind of need to use 2 epics in this, you know, the Mazda Atlantis and the Before CS, but you get what I mean. I don't know. It's kind of funny because I've seen people say that the first couple of levels are way too hard for what they are, which I agree with, but the last few levels are way too easy for what they are. You gotta really think about, you know, what you're really competing for, right? Like if your grand prize is a super rare, make the rounds easy. Nobody wants to try for that. But if your grand prize is a legendary, that's when you have more leeway to make the rounds a little harder because people are willing to compete for that. You know, why are they just making it like just a same level of difficulty across everything when the prizes slowly escalate? I don't understand, dude. It's this entire event it's just dumb. And the worst thing about it, as I said at the start, is that this atrocious new kind of JTTC crap replaced something that was actually good. The supercharged challenges and the premium expo collections, can they come back, please? I don't understand why Hutch even removed them. You were getting so much revenue from this. I was actively paying like $35 every month just to get this. Look, the difference was this, right? The JTTC replaced the passes, right? But the passes at the end of the day were quick and easy, right? Like literally you're just racing against commons, and it was actually kind of fun because I could have just used whatever I wanted to use. Like I could like you play with my dodges, you know, like I like to play with my dodges. I'm a little boy when I play with shit like this, you know what I mean? I want to play with the cards that I like. Obviously, if I have the chance to just choose whatever I want, I will play with the Vipers, I will play with the Challengers. It was quick and easy, but I didn't need to use my brain. And the payout was respectable. You were getting carbon fibers, you were getting a lot of cash, you were getting slots, you were getting gold. You weren't getting gold, I don't think you're getting gold, but you were getting slots and cash, carbons and ceramic packs, and it was nice. It was efficient, it was fast. Could pump it out in an hour, and then I'll just wait for the next month and do it all over again. Yes, there were some cons. It's not free to play friendly, right? So obviously, like if you're not gonna pay, you're not gonna get the rewards. And then number 2, there was no story campaign. You know, people always want extra story campaigns, they want more storylines, they want more plot lines, etc., etc. And yeah, that was just you pay and you race and that's it. But there were pros with JTTC, whatever. There were no pros. It was lethargic. It felt endless. It was unbalanced. It was unrewarding. It was insulting, and it kind of carries on one of the cons from, you know, the season passes. There was no story campaign. You call it a campaign, but it isn't a campaign. Like, where are all the bosses? Like, once we get out of single player, we don't see any of those bosses ever again. I think you see like Legrand for like the Yellowbird series. Okay, sure, but after that, you just don't see that ever again. They could have utilized them for this, but they didn't. They just didn't decide to do it. Don't we have like a boss from Tokyo or something? Like he would have been great for this. Could have introduced a new boss for like South Korea, you know, or Malaysia or Australia. That would have been pretty cool. But no, they just decided to do something lethargic and endless and then just repetitive, and it was just really boring. The only pro, I guess, was that it's free to play friendly. You could, you know, join whenever you want. Cool, I guess. But the biggest thing that I never understood was why didn't they just run both of this at the same time? They could have just ran the JTTC campaign, and they could have just done the premium expo collection as well. So your pay to wins could go for that. I would have bought the passes, and the free to plays could go play around with that super boring campaign if they wanted to. I don't get it. So yeah, anyway, this entire thing, just don't come back. It was terrible. This entire thing was a flop. I do not want to see this again. At least in its current state. If you want to make some changes and make it more balanced and make it more interesting and maybe even give it like a storyline for the next update, then maybe, but they definitely need to make it more structured. I want to know how many chapters we're expecting. I want to know when the end is going to be. I want to know if they're releasing, like, what's the problem? They could have just released a new chapter. They could have told us we're releasing new chapters twice a week, every Tuesday and every Thursday. Why couldn't they have done that? We didn't even know when the next chapter was going to come up. We didn't even know when to be prepared. Why did they keep us in the dark like that? The entire thing was just ran like absolute shit, and I hated it, and I don't want it to come back. But anyway, that's gonna be it for today. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. I do like ranting, and I know you guys like to watch me rant, but this thing was an entire shit show. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't